Hey guys, welcome back to another awesome episode of Push the Point, where I have got a very different VISERAI deck that I've been building on. Now, I'm just going to say a bit of a disclaimer here that I've kind of found this on Talishar. I was playing into one of the guys that was, I don't think I was just playing KO, and I saw this chat. And I don't know his name. I think it was like I think his name was Pummel or something. Anyway, so he had this deck that was doing this sort of strategy. And I was just like, whoa, okay, what is this? And I didn't get to see his list. He just played the game and it was done. And then I just went straight into, I've got to build something like this. So this is something that I've managed to sort of create from watching this gameplay being folded out, and then just made something up kind of myself. So I just want to very much state that this isn't like some sort of crazy brainchild that I've been coming up with. It was basically just something I saw and then I built on it. So whoever it was, if there has been something been put out there, I just want to say that I'm not claiming this at all. But this is something that I've been playing, and I just want to show you my thoughts on what I've got. Anyway, so we're back. It's VISERAI. You know, you've seen some VISERAI deck text from myself. If you haven't played VISERAI before, pretty simple. Every time you play a non-attack action card, the next card, the Rune Blade card that you play, he creates one Rune Chant token. Really flexible, really cool. So a lot of the time you want to play non-attack action cards, followed up with a go again, and then play a Rune Blade card, gets you your Rune Chant. Now, we're going to be making quite a lot of Rune Chants. You'll be seeing here very clearly we don't have Meridian Skies anymore. We're not running any of that. So let's just go through the equipment and go from here, right? So we've got Scepter of Pain, right? So we're slowing things right down now. We're going to be kind of like building up a big base of rune chants, and this weapon is really good because it's it's the only way really, apart from the book, but which isn't unfortunately there yet. This is a weapon that you can able to just target them, deal 1 damage, and if you do, it will give you a rune chant. And the reason we want to use this is because I don't really want to throw a weapon and throw away the rune chants at them. I want to be building up a good base. And, you know, if they let it happen, that's effectively 2 damage because 1 goes through and then you make a rune chant, which is 1 arcane damage for later. Or you're just going to be stripping a card from the hand. So it has this feel. It's not exactly the same as Coronet Peak from Icelander, but it has this feel of like, you know, do you want to give me a card? And most of the time they do, which is fine, you know. But just pinging that 1 arcane at them to get a 1 rune chant back, great, because I want to keep these rune chants. And Bloodied Oval, what a weird random card. Didn't expect this to sort of crop up there. But yeah, it's that offhand weapon. It's fine. It blocks for 1 if you're below. And that's kind of really what you need, because most of the time when you're having the Scepter of Pain, it's a one-handed weapon. What are you going to do with that other slot? And most of the time it's empty. It just doesn't feel good to just have a hand wobbling around doing nothing. So this time we've got the Bloodied Oval just to get that 1 armor. And if you're wondering what the other one would be, yeah, in the sideboard we've got Arcane Lantern, which I'll just swing over to. Arcane Lantern, if you need to just have some Arcane Barrier, it's fine. It's just an offhand. It's all good. And now the main board, obviously Spellbound Creases is just such a crazy, crazy good card. It's probably one of the strongest pieces of equipment that Runeblade has access to. The flexibility of swinging in an attack action card, and then you're able to just pitch just any card that you want to be able to play a non-attack action card just to follow up. Has some really, really cool, interesting plays with that. But at times it can just be a block 1, which is also fine. It's just 9 rock legs that blocks for 1. But if you can get that shot in to be able to use it, then yeah, you know, you're just getting so much value from this card. It's so, so good. Grasp of the Art Knight, it's again another Runeblade staple. It's Battle Worn blocks for 2, so it's just 3 points of health there. And at the start of the turn, you know, you're just creating some rune chants. You're going to be making a lot, so you're not going to be using this card's ability too much. But when you are at a point where you will have no rune chants, which we'll get to very soon, you'll probably see it in the title, that Looming Doom's going to come down and just strip away a lot of those rune chants. So you need to have something that will go, I will get a rune chant. And that's very important because I've got, you know, plenty of cards here that need to have that rune chant to create that value. But most of the time, yeah, it's a block for 3, really strong. And then we're going for the Tunic. Now, it's a slower paced sort of game. So we're going to have quite a few turns. And having that one resource there is very, very, very strong when it comes up to be able to just play a one cost card. Or, if you've got no rune chance left, then some of your defense reactions, like the reduced rune chant, which we'll see, you'll need to have that just to get that going. But most of the time, this is just that nice little cheeky one extra resource if you need to. For example, I don't know, Grasp of the Art Knight, pitch a blue, you've got one left, get a Tunic, and then Scepter of Pain. That's really strong. But most of the time it'll be for the Blessing of Occult or the Rune Blood incantations. But we'll get through to them. Which this is kind of like the main board. This new card here, Sonata Galaxia. Right, kind of saw it, and I put on Twitter saying, this card is a Vinset card. It is a Vinset card. It's a very good Vinset card because, she's going to be holding a lot of rune chants. You want to play this out, be able to find one of the auras, which will probably be Blessing of Occult or Rune Blood Incantation. And then, but this isn't that's for Vinset. For this, right, it's effectively another tutor card to be able to search up for two of the most powerful things in this deck, which we're going to be leaning in on. But you want to be pushing it. You got to have like 4 rune chants to be able to find the Blessing of Occult or the Rune Blood Incantation, which is fine. If you need to get that little buffer to get there. Or, it's Looming Doom time. That card, that the very first spoiler that we threw out back when it was Dynasty. And I'm loving the fact that now we get to use this card that we've been able to spoil way back when. It's really, really, really cool, right? So you need to have like 6 rune chants. You don't necessarily need to have 6. You could pitch into 2 to just fire this out. But effectively, all those rune chants that you're making, you are putting onto Looming Doom, and then you're just slowly ticking away. So if you're on like 10 rune chants or something, that's like 20 points of damage. And it is going to take over 10 turns, but we're a slow deck. That's fine. We want to just be chipping away slowly but surely at these mid-range fatigue sort of decks. And it's just a pain in the bum. It's just constantly a pain in the bum, especially near the end game where it is feeling like the Looming Doom is coming, where you are just beep, and at one, and then you're just blocking up, and you just know you're just dealing 2 damage each time. It's even more wild when you get 2 of them down. So and you don't have to pay that free card, like keeping that hand to do that. You can just have those turns because of Sonata Galaxia to just block up, play this out, fetch the Looming Doom. Has go again as well, because if it's anything above 4, it's because it's XX. So if you have 4 rune chants, then you find the aura that you want to play, and then you got go again. So when you get to Looming Doom, you're on 6, so you definitely got go again. It will take all the rune chants away, so again, that's why having Grasp of that Art Knight to just get another rune chant or whatever you want to do on your go again, it's really it's really, really cool. It is really, really cool. Another card that you can also pull up, which is something that I was like, oh wow, okay, this is cool, we could use it, and it's actually come up more often that I really do want to pull this card, is Runeblood Barrier, that Crucible of War card that we just didn't know what to do with. It's now becoming that moment of when you go, oh, imagine if Read the Runes had go again. Well, have Read the Runes that have 4 rune chants and it has go again because of Sonata Galaxia. This card can be flexible in 3 different ways, obviously. So you can grab your 4 rune chants, and then you got go again, and then you could just then throw out your 9th blade, because now you got just a big heap of rune chants just to throw that out. Pretty good against if you just need to put the pressure on. You could also just use it to just build up loads of rune chants really early, and really, at a certain point, and then you can save that up for a big Looming Doom turn again. You don't necessarily need Sonata to just play Looming Doom. You could just have a turn where you'll pitch up and just play Looming Doom. Or, if you're right near the end and you just need to have a little bit of that armor to just stop that pressure going, it can do that. When you're playing that Sonata Galaxia, it has that moment of like Become the Art Knight, where you're thinking, how's the game going? How's the tempo going? Do I need to build loads of rune chants up to fire an attack? or do I need to have something bigger setups? Or if I'm playing against Guardians, for example, especially Victor, or Bravo, that you just need to just go, I need to have a bigger Looming Doom turn, because if you're Looming Doom on 6, that's fine if you're going a little bit aggressive, because you know the game's not going to be lasting long enough. But if you're going to have a big long game coming on, you do need to have like at least around about like 12 or so rune chants, just to have those 12 turns taken away. And sometimes 12 might not even be enough. I have had games where I've had 20, and that was pretty key, because just to keep going and going and going and going. And then sometimes you have 20 turns of doing Looming Doom, and you're like, maybe 20 turns was maybe a little bit too big. But at the same time, having loads of rune chants there makes you sort of just think, okay, what do I need to do with this? But Runeblade Barrier is that thing that just amplifies that up. Again, you could Sonata, Galaxia, Runeblade Barrier, and then playing to read the runes. But we'll get there. Well, you've got a very defensive package of stuff here. So we're going for the all Fate for Scenes, all the Sync Belows, and because we're making lots of rune chants, the reduce to rune chant, beautiful card, right? Just being able to just play this for nothing and be able to make a rune chant, it's part of that rune chant, making a game plan that we want to make. And yeah, so that's why I went down to the all the reds and all the yellows as well. Yellows can be a little funky, but yellow is fine for when you want to pitch up, because you've got that card that you need to for your scepter if you need to. Again, you could just pitch up for 3, well, block it for 3, and make a rune chant from that as well. So you're just ramping up that rune chant making business. Speaking of making rune chants, you've got the Blessing of Occult. Great card, just to be able to just go, okay, cool, just make 3 rune chants for next turn. Runeblade Incantation. If this didn't have Go Again, I don't know, but because it does, it's very, very good just to be able to go, okay, pitch 1, play Runeblade Incantation, grasp with the Art Knight for 2, and then make another rune chant. Having that Go Again, really, really, really strong, being able to have that flexibility. And then Mordred Tide, obviously. That thing is just going to be able to ramp up your rune chant generation so quick on those times that you need to. And then there's times where you're like, you know what? I'm sitting on like 13, 14 rune chants here. How big do I need to make this? And you do want to keep this card as a priority, but block 3, that it can. I have used Mordred Time more often now to block for 3, because sometimes you just don't need to make that many. But at the same time, you do sometimes really want to keep this just to be able to play it out and read the runes. The classic, the best way of making lots and lots of rune chants is through Read the Runes. And I put in that 1 copy. I had 3 copies of Read the Runes yellow, and I just don't know. There was a point where I'm like, there's too many 2 blocks in here. There is quite a lot of 2 blocks in here already, but I really want to try and strip that down. And in the end, the ratio is part of it. Felt pretty fine to just having 1, and then it's a yellow, so you could pitch that up to do the scepter if you need to. I only went for 2 Runeblade Incantations and 2 Blessing of Occults as well. It's a bit of a balancing act. I don't think this is like completely solid set yet. I'd say it definitely isn't solid set, but this is like a really good start to just sort of roll on and then just make those adjustments as and when. I had 3 of each, and then it just felt like it was points where I'm like, it's just too much sometimes. I need to be able to have that balance of being able to put that back again. And I think overall, when the number that you're making, it's fine. And I've cut them down, and it still I haven't seen really any massive impact that made me go, okay, I need more rune chants. I'm not seeing that at the minute. So I'm happy with just the 2 and 2 at the minute. Okay, so what else is there? We'll go through some of the attacks. So Amplify the Art Knight is really cool, just because it reduces for each cost. It's not the strongest one attack that I've got, but it's handy. It's one of those last game in a pinch cards. It's also a 6 strength, so it can be a popper as well. Blocks with 3. It's quite a versatile card, so I'm pretty happy with just keeping this here. There's times where I'm always like, I don't feel like I ever want to take this out, just because of the 6 strength is really strong. So that's why I've just gone for the 3 copies of this. The Swarming Glueveil, just such a flexible, great card. Happy to block this up quite early on because I do have a 1 copy of Rattlebones that you will see. And it can just be this really cool extender if you need to sort of try and close this point out in the end. You've got Looming Doom sitting now on like 4, Doom counters left. Such a cool thing, Doom counters. And they're on that little bit of last life, and you just want to just go, okay, I'm just going to start like stripping your hand here. And Swarming Glueveil is just so good. And if not, it's block 3. It's all good, all good. And then the big boy card, the whole thing that makes this just seem like, this isn't fair, is old Ninth Blade here. So when you got Looming Doom on like 2, 10, whatever, how many Doom counters you got sitting on there, chipping away. There is a point in the game where you do need to sort of go, right, well, I am not going to survive. This deck's not going to survive. I will deck out. I need to just do this big whambo turn. And that's what it is, a whambo turn. And Ninth Blade is that. And if you're at that point where you're like, I'm on like 5 rune chants here, or maybe even 6, and that's why, Sonata Galaxia, pull out the Runeblade barrier, get it go again, just loads of rune chants flying your way. That's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. And Ninth Blade just coming in for free after a big old block turn. It just seems like at moments just like wildly unfair. So yeah, but the opponent will spend most of the time going, I see all this armor I haven't been using, so they're just going to do a big old block up turn. But then again, you will get damage through, and then they got an empty hand, and then Looming Doom, boop boop boop, just booping away. So that's the sort of red big main board attacks I got in there. Runic Reckoning is 3 block, really good. Just fine to... I like to actually set this up for the Ninth Blade turn, just so I can push over for 12, right? And that's just a lot. It's a lot of damage. And having that opportunity as well to create a rune chain after you've done the Ninth Blade turn is just really good because it lets you reduce the rune chance sort of set up really nicely as well. So, and most of the time it can be a block 3, but I really like to try and pitch this up, prioritize this for the sort of the end game turn, just to be able to start chipping over once you've set up that second load of rune chants after you've done a Looming Doom turn into a big rune chant turn. Where else are we? Yeah, so the blues, Become the Art Knight, beautiful card, block for 3. It's one of the best VISERAI specializations I think that's out there. That flexibility to just go find what you need to find at that time you need to find it. Even if I have had turns where I was like, where is this Sonata Galaxia? Or where is my Ninth Blade when I need it? So Become the Art Knight, find that card that I want to find. But you've got to take a bit of damage to have that turn, but that's that time when you sort of go, I will take this damage because I'm just going to come in for 1 million. Right. So this card's really good. Over the Art Knight, blue, it's a blue block 3, has these moments of where you can just make a rune chant. Doesn't come up way too often. It can be that late point of the game where that +1 and that +1 rune chant can be really strong. Especially when you're sitting on 8 rune chants, and then now you got 9, and now you got 9 rune chants and a Ninth Blade coming in for 10. It's fine. But most of the time it's a blue block 3. And Vexing Malice, man, I didn't put it in, and then I put it back in because there's too many games where I've actually just won because of Vexing Malice. Vexing Malice wins you the game. That is the quote. That's why I'll be saying this forever. Vexing Malice wins you the game. Coming in for 2 arcane damage is just the way. It has this the Rosetta. I know Rosetta's gone now, so it's just that nice little closer at the end. Especially when you've got Looming Doom sitting around. You're on those last couple of points of Doom points, and they're on those middling last numbers. You got to just come in for that last little bit of 2 arcane, and you just know you're just pointing the end game right there. So I don't want to get these blocked up early. I really do want to try and keep like 1 or 2 left at the end of the game. Pitch up for that, for your scepter if you need to. Because when it comes back round for the end game, that's what you need. Warmonger's Diplomacy is fine, actually. All those times where everyone said Warmongers is just closing VISERAI out. Not necessarily this one. Most of the time you're going to pick peace because... And it can be quite hard because you can just sort of look at your hand a little bit and go, okay, you have very odd times she janked me up. But I most of the time just try and pick peace. Just be very careful. I've been slipped up with this, that you can't use your scepter if you pick peace, because it's a weapon. You can't activate them. You have to pick war. So you can just look at your board state really well and just go, what way can I swing this when you play it out? If they play it against you, it's even less of a bother, because you can just work out what you want that turn to be. I mostly try and pick peace, because I'll just make more rune chants. It's fine. I'll block up and just make rune chants. If it's on you want to play this on, I don't know, like someone like a Azalea. There's been times where it has been slightly annoying for certain brutes and warriors as well, when they just want to play that non-attack to get the go again, or whatever it is they want to do, or pump attack most likely. So it can be that time for that, but it's a blue block 3, so you're just going to block up with this. It's fine. And then I've got my 2 copies of Whisper of the Oracle. I was sitting there going, what do I want to do for a blue block 3? Do I want some attack action cards? Could do. I'm not opposed to seeing some Spellblade Assaults. It was times I was thinking, could get that, because that's more cards for Become the Art Knight to swap out. So again, have a mess around with the ratios. I did like this just because most of the time I just really want to get a lot of my defense reactions sort of cleared up and out of the way. So I'm just happy to just move cards down. Gets me closer to my Sonata Galaxias. It's got 0 cost go again, so even if I can just play this out and then move into playing a reducing rune chant, you're triggering VISERAI. So you're just getting that one more rune chant from it. So there's a lot of value there for that. But if you're not fancying it and you want to do some, and the ratios want to tell you want to put an attack action card in, then yeah, Spellblade Assault is a good option as well. And yeah, that's kind of like the big lock-in mainboard deck that I run with. There was times I might have moved one Runeblade Barrier out if I'm playing a bit more aggressive, but not necessarily all the time. I do like to have that flexibility of having Sonata Galaxia to go. Which one do I need to go down the route of? And having that access to a Runeblade Barrier is like really strong. Especially even if you're playing it slow, it's fine. You can just play it out and have loads of rune chants and have some good blocking power. The sideboard. Let's go through some of the equipment. I went for Arcane Lantern. That's your other sideboard one if you want to do some Arcane Barrier instead of blocking. Balance of Justice. Wow, beautiful new card from the Heavy Hitters set. It is a card that you just slot in over Crown of Providence, which I didn't go over. But yeah, I didn't go over because it's down there. So Balance of Justice, you whip this in if you want to play into people that you know are going to draw. So brutes are definitely drawing 2. Art of Wars with Leviathan and obviously Blood Rush Bellow. For all the brutes are just running Blood Rush Bellow. Great, it's a cool card just to be able to draw 2 on. Or Fi, or anyone that you just think, right, what are the odds you're going to go and draw 2? This is the card that you just want to just put in instead of Crown of Providence. I will say that I haven't been running this against Kasai. Kasai is one of those heroes that is able to just manage that draw really well. And every time I've put it in against Kasai, I don't know, it might be a good thing. It might be just something you just want to put in anyway, right? But they don't draw, they'll sort of just go, well, I just won't draw 2. And they just then start chipping away, which actually might be the buff. You know, you're just saying, go on, I dare you. And that I have mostly been running Crown of Providence over Kasai, but that's because I just want to get that more value from it. And if you know that they're not a hero that's just going to be drawing 2 cards most of the time, you just run Crown of Providence. Just the best alternative out there. I think it is that conversation now between Balance and Crown. Yeah, they're going to draw 2, you put Balance in. If not, put Crown in. Unless obviously you're a hero that have different headsets, but VISERAI is not one of those. So those 2 are just a good solid choice to put in. And then the other option is Direct Carapace. It's Arcane Barrier and Temper 2. So, you know, it's just loads of just value right there. When do you want to put this in over Tunic? If you feel like there's going to be... it's when things get a little bit fast, when you know that you're just not going to get multiple turns off, that if the turn's going longer, put Tunic in, right? But if it's going to be a very quick game or you need some Arcane Barrier, put Direct Carapace in. That's kind of like the good rule of thumb that I roll on. You need to have that more armor to be able to just block up some big key attacks and trying your best to just be a little bit more aggressive as possible. That's what I just roll with. So defense reactions, the sigils are suffering. I have mostly put these in. So there is times where I'm like, do I need this as a sideboard option? It's depending on what you're seeing, but most of the time I put a sigil suffering in. I've never actually used to put this card in a lot, but now I'm like sort of hooked on it. I love that extra value of doing 1 arcane damage, and has won me the game on a few times when they're just coming in real greedy. They've got just got nothing left, and then you go, yeah, cool, boop, 1 more damage on win. That all you got. Again, another really good defense reaction. It's a yellow, so you can pitch this up for your scepter, and you only want to run this up against heroes that you know have got a low power count with their attacks. So you know your Fais, your with the Kodachis, your assassins with the 1 damage. Kasai can come in with the weapons for 2 now. So that's when you want to go, okay, I'll get some value here. I can put that in. Do I need to have 3 copies in? I am and an hour in about that, but maybe you could put in 2, but I just went for 3 for now. And then your removables for the big hitters, for the heavy hitters, like your big Bravos or whatever, or the Azaleas. Yeah, movable, really, really strong to get that parked up in Arsenal and just shut down that turn. Really, really strong. So I have put in that 1 copy of Art Knight Ascendancy. I do quite like having that 1 copy because I do block up with this card more often. This card is very, very difficult to actually pull off and execute. You need to have a Runic Reckoning somewhere in Arsenal. You do need to just have that moment to just push over. But it is dominate, so if you are playing that long game, you could have this in there to say, okay, cool, here's a big hit, and if this hits, he's going to make loads of rune chants. That's really strong. I might put this up against some aggro matchups as well, because a lot of the time they will block this up, and especially someone like Fi, it is quite a strong card. They have armor, so they can block this up. So I've only got 1 copy of this. I'll just slot it in if I feel like there'll be a time that I need to just sort of pull this out. And because you've got Become the Art Knight to find it, you can come up or just block for 3. It's fine. Command and Conquer, strong card as always. It's 2 for 6, 3 block, popper. Zalia hates it. I don't run this awfully too much, but there are times where I'm like, yeah, I just need to just have that 6 power for a popper, or I just need to just be a little bit awkward, so it can be useful there. And then, the Final's Fighting Spirit. I'm in an iron, but my theory behind this is that if I am able to just sort of block up like a 2 block, and I can get a health, that's really good. It's a popper for Dromite, that is really good as well. These sort of cards here, like the sideboard side of things, this is where I'm sort of like milling around on, not 100% sure where I'm landing or laying with it. So they like Command and Conquer's, Fighting Spirits, all that you got. These are the sort of things I'd say I play around with and just have a look. Most of this stuff here feels pretty solid. But some of the stuff here, I am finding like I'm not using it that much. I do need to get a few more Dromai games in. But yeah, it's a hard call. But the overall strategy of this is just making rune chants, getting your Sonata Glaciers to pull out Looming Doom, all your rune blood barriers to just throw out your big Ninth Blade turns. That strategy is working out really, really well. Let's have a look here. Results. I've been having 69 matches so far, 74% win rate. It's we're sort of bouncing in between a few wins and losses. I haven't lost to Victor at all. This guy can't deliver these big hits enough. I'm just blocking up too much. Kasai again, and a hero that just can't seem to just deal with this. KO is that new card, the Bones one, that one says, "Oh, look at the top 6 cards." Yeah, we're playing slow. Yeah, it's very hard. So you can see that there are some matchups that I'm just not having a great time with. This isn't a perfect VISERAI deck at all. This isn't going to be a big meta deck in any way. it's just a very different alternative way of looking at things when you're playing it up. So you are effectively going what way. Yeah, VISERAI now has like a two-way potential deck where you can go, are you the Skies deck or are you this big annoying Looming Doom deck? Well, how do I want to side into this? How much Arcane Barrier do I need to put in? Blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. This is something that is, if I feel like I haven't explained too much, obviously I did mention Rattle Bones again, another real cool card to swap stuff around with if you need to get a Swarming Gloom Veil, or you blocked it with a Ninth Blade, you can pull a Ninth Blade up. But yeah, have a play around with this. I've been having loads and loads and loads of fun with it. I can't seem to put it down, even though I keep thinking, should I? Is this it? And it's doing its thing. It does its thing quite well. And there's some games I'm like, oh god, this is getting a little close. And then, oh yeah, Ninth Blade, have a 20 rune chance and 9 damage, and it just goes, okay, that's too much. This is too much damage. Damage is getting through. And then yeah, you just sort of get that life total down a little bit. You just remember that you've got that behind your belt, and it is just gonna bring that life total back to where it should be. And then Looming Doom does its job. It does do its job. So yeah, have fun, play around with it. Deck link below. Like and subscribe, and if you want to be a patron, get your 10% off on Thistle Taverns, and you get early access into knowing when new stuff comes from Metal Fab Tokens. Hope you enjoy it. See you later, everyone.